All right, guys, welcome back to month 6 or 6.5 of learning Korean. So, actually, I just pulled this up. Since I started learning Korean, it's been 198 days. So, we're almost at the 200-day mark. Pretty exciting stuff. But anyway, let's get right into it. This month is not too exciting, pretty short month. So yeah, general updates. So yeah, I had like a bit of vacation after I finished work. I took a bit of of like a 1 week vacation, and then so I basically decided to like take the whole week just completely off from Korean. I didn't like really do much. I didn't even do Anki. I was just like so that was like the first time since I started learning Korean that I hadn't touched Anki. Other I had like a 180-day streak up to that point, and then so I just decided to drop it. And then yeah, so after that I came home and then I caught the flu. So it's just been up and down since then. So obviously, I was like super sick. Couldn't really do much of anything really, let alone Korean. So yeah, so Anki like really blew up. I had to spend quite a few hours catching up, but honestly, SRS is nice where like it didn't blow up as much as I thought it would because like I thought the reviews would get really bad, but honestly, it was just like really bad for the first like time or two I had to do the reviews, and then after that, it kind of got back to normal. Hell, it's like even better now. I think the reviews are rather manageable now. The main thing that really blew up was like the closed deck that I was using for output practice, and that deck like that deck had like 400 or 500 reviews, just stacked up. So I just set it to like 40 reviews a day, so that I don't like get tempted because I don't know, I have this like bad habit of just like trying to do them all at once and then burning myself out. Um, so yeah, I'm just like slowly grinding through those 40 a day. I don't know if it's like the best way to do it, but it's the only way I'll stay motivated to even touch that deck because if I just see the number 500, I'm not gonna want to touch it. So yeah, so those are some general updates. Reading wise, again, nothing. I'm never gonna do any reading anyway. Writing, yeah, just a little bit. Just like italki. When I was taking classes, I was like writing some of my like opinions and stuff, just like short paragraphs. And then also just some texting on Hello Talk with some people. There's just one person I had a pretty interesting conversation with. And yeah, I mean the one of my biggest goals of learning language is just to have like more interesting conversations with more people. I think like learning a foreign language is cool in order to help you express yourself better, even in your native language. So yeah, I was very proud with what I was able to say. I mean, I was like able to say a lot of things, but even so, there were still a ton of things that I wasn't able to say. So, I mean, it just took like a lot of editing and thinking. When you're texting, you can do that, but when you're speaking, you don't really have the luxury of doing so. So, hopefully, just with practice, things get better. Speaking wise, yeah, so I spent 30 minutes with a Gyeongsangdo person, and that was really interesting. I learned some dialect. It's I think dialect is just fun to learn. Like I even watched some like YouTube videos on dialect after this conversation, and yeah, I mean it's interesting, but obviously like not super important anyway. And yeah, I've forgot it all by now. Unfortunately, it's like kind of hard to remember. And dialect is just like it makes the language feel slightly odd. But yeah, I mean, speaking overall is just like exhausting, especially when you're not just going through the same like rehearsed motions. Like I feel like now I'm more comfortable to the point where just like really basic conversation I can make pretty easily. Like, oh, what have you done today? What's your age? Where do you live? Why are you studying Korean? Like these types of things. I feel like are coming pretty naturally. But if I have to think and I have to, and this goes for English too, right? If I have to think and I actually have to put together more coherent and comprehensive thoughts, then obviously the difficulty just scales exponentially. So it's just really exhausting. But yeah, I mean, obviously grateful for the Hello Talk partners that don't switch to English. I think like this is something I'll try to do more in the future. Is if I continue to use Hello Talk, I'll probably be a little stricter on like when we can use English versus when we're using Korean because it's like really frustrating because I mean I can understand if this was happening in real life, but on even on Hello Talk people will be like, oh, I could let's just switch to English. I'm like, no, I don't want to, because the whole point I'm on here is that I want to practice my Korean. Otherwise, why would I be spending time on Hello Talk? I can just go to an English chatting website. And so yeah, I mean, I feel like people like doing that on Hello Talk is kind of annoying. I mean, obviously it's not rude, because like a lot of people just want to chat, but for me, it's like, well, we're on a language exchange app, so I want to do language exchange. If we want to set aside some time for English, it's good, but if we're doing Korean, then I want to stick to Korean. So basically, like, I was effectively just speaking Korean while they were speaking English, which is like felt really backwards and kind of weird. So yeah, I mean, hopefully I can find some language exchange partners that are more kind of respectful of that. But yeah, I did find one. I found like one guy. We did like a 30-minute like half and half in English and Korean, and I think this is kind of what I want to do more in the future. So we started 15 minutes in Korean and then 15 minutes in English, and I think that was very effective. I think that went pretty well, because there's no really pressure to like switch, right? And then, so since you know that you're locked into that, like, the language that you set, there's no pressure to like, like, oh, I can't express my thoughts, so I have to switch to English or something like that. um so yeah, I think that's the kind of the format I would like to see more of in the future for myself. I think that helps a lot, and also it takes the pressure off me, because I don't feel like I'm just using them, for their Korean. It's like a two-way. It's language exchange for a reason. I like to feel that I'm not just like taking advantage of the fact that they're speaking Korean just to speak Korean to them. I hope that they can get something out of it too, if they improve their English a little bit. So yeah, mom, I like did one call. I mean, originally I like put this call counter here because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do more calls, but I only ended up doing one call. It ended up going well. italki, I did like 2 hours of italki. It would, I mean, the lessons are still going pretty well, but I just haven't like really done it since I've gotten back. I just haven't really had the motivation to restart them. So I'll have to see, maybe I'll get the motivation. But I mean, as I'll talk about in the next session, like my speaking has been getting a lot better with the input I've been getting. I think even like taking a week or two off, like almost 2 weeks, yeah, like taking like 2 weeks off, somehow has cemented a lot of like concepts in my head. So I feel like even while I was taking off, my speaking and my listening has gotten a lot better, interestingly enough. But let's just talk about that now. So for listening, yeah, still just like music. Music is good. I discovered like Janabi recently. His music is really good. I really like it, and also the lyrics are very good too. So they're good for my vocabulary acquisition. Content wise, I've been starting to watch a lot more content recently, and I think I'm really proud of myself for this. That my Korean level is elevated to the point where I can start understanding content. So just slice of life, those like web dramas, right? Just like those miscellaneous, super short, maybe 5 to 10 minutes sometimes, and I always watch them with subs, with Korean subs. I feel like my listening is not at the point where I can catch up without Korean subs, but even with Korean subs, it's still you still get really good listening practice in, because I think even when I have subs turned on, I'm not really reading the subs. I'm still like I listen to them and then I use the subs as like a crutch. So yeah, eventually, hopefully, obviously, I want to get to the point where I don't have to rely on Korean subs, but right now I think it's a good intermediary while I'm in this kind of transitionary phase. Yeah, random interviews. I've been watching a lot of like Pam Mokja. That guy is like pretty funny, and also, originally I cared a lot about K-pop content, and then now with all this, like now I can finally engage more with that content, even though I'm not as interested in it anymore. I can finally engage more with the content, so I've been watching some of those. He speaks in dialect, so uh, it's also kind of interesting. Sometimes I have to parse things apart, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to do that. TED Talks are cool. And they're too advanced for me most of the time. The speech is like extra formal, obviously. So I mean, not exactly what I'm looking for, but I have mined some sentences out of these, so it's pretty nice. Yeah, and just like random videos too. I didn't really know what to write here. Just like there's just like just YouTube videos that like explain random topics, and I think like most of the content I really enjoy is just like it's just content I would watch in English too, right? So it's a lot of content that has like interesting topics and interesting discussions, or it's just like one guy like monologuing over like an interesting topic. So I've just been watching videos like those, and I hope like my fluency gets better to the point where I can actually engage a bit more, because like my comprehension percentage on Kimchi Reader for some of those videos is in the 50s to 60s, which is obviously like extremely bad. And there's like tons of red underlines whenever I'm just watching with the pop-up dictionary, that the words that I don't know and things like that. So I mean, hopefully I get to the point where my like comprehension increases so that I don't have to pause all the time. But that's kind of the content. That's kind of my goal right now, is what content I'm trying to enjoy in the future. Um, yeah, still the same like podcast without scripts, like DD, all things Korean. Like this is kind of my example of like the perfect podcast for me right now. It's like, yeah, I can't really mind them. Like the episodes are really hard to mind because they kind of stop and start a lot in their conversation. It would be sort of trying to like mine my current videos, if you're learning English, for example, and you tried to mine my Korean diaries, it wouldn't go very well for you because I start and stop a lot, I stutter a lot, things like that. um so all these Koreans kind of the same thing, except for you can imagine with two people, they stop and start a lot, but I think their topics, the topic selection is the most interesting, and the speed is really good because like they don't use the most, whenever they go fast, they don't use the most difficult grammar or the most difficult vocab. So I can really just focus on kind of acclimating to the speed itself, right? So I think that is really nice. Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, their topics are just by far like for out of learner podcasts, the topics are like god tier. So really enjoy that. I mean, I listen to Korean Chingu Chat. They just like run a podcast, and I mean, it's pretty good. They talk in Panmar a lot, so I get to like that I picked up a lot of Panmar from that. And also they have like sometimes interesting topics too. But I mean, I prefer all things Korean. Yeah, so with scripts, like still mining Tressus Intermediate, I'm honestly at this point, I used to do the like, oh, I like listen to it first without subs and then watch it with Korean subs, while I'm sentence mining. But I feel like I just want to get through these, so I'm just gonna start watching them without like, I'm just gonna start just straight up watching them without having listened to them before, just to get through them. I have like a 1 month like Trisusu subscription going on right now, so hopefully I can like maximize my value out of that. Yeah, and then there's this new one I found, I got recommended, called the DM Korean podcast. This one's also pretty good. This one, he has a script, and his like, I feel like a lot of these learner podcasts end up just talking about like Korea related stuff, which is not necessarily something I really want to learn about. Like I mean, I don't know if I'll be going to Korea in the near future, but for example, like learning about a I don't know, like what a Korean blank looks like or something. Like I feel like that's not too useful to me in my current state. I'd rather just learn like more general terminology. But this guy has like really good audio quality, and he has subtitles, and his like topics are interesting enough to the point where like I can watch all of these. So this is pretty good. Um, yeah. Grammar wise, not much. I feel like I'm at the point where I'm not really learning too much grammar anymore. The one form I've been struggling with recently is Doni. I don't know, like I just can't pick it up. So hopefully this one is something that'll click in the future. But otherwise, yeah, grammar. I already know like pretty much all the important ones. I mean, there's like particles and stuff that I still have yet to learn. By grammar, I think at this point is like sufficient to get by in like 95+% of scenarios. So I mean, I rarely ever, if I like stop and break down a sentence, I rarely ever run into a scenario where I just don't know the grammar. So I think that's really good. Okay, vocab wise, yeah, sentence mining. It's been hard. Sentence mining has been really hard as I've started to run out of learner content and as my kind of word base has been growing. And I think my after I started doing my closed deck, my standards for what constitutes a good sentence to mine have sort of increased. And so it's been very hard to find those types of I plus one sentences that also have good quality and don't have stutters and provide enough context to where I can use them in closed decks. So basically, like the sentence that I mine has to have enough context about the unknown word in that sentence itself in order for me to put it into a closed deck, because in a closed deck I don't want to just be guessing the word. Like I want to infer the word from context, right? So it's been really hard. Like sometimes I've had days where I watch like over an hour of content and I only get like two or three sentences mine. And those days are extremely frustrating because whenever I'm watching content, there's it's sort of like a chore. Like in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, I need to mine X amount of sentences. My goal for a long time was mining 10 sentences a day, and now it's just impossible. So I've kind of given up on that, reminding 10 sentences a day, which is why as you'll see in the next section, like my sentence mining stats have been not too good. The Anki wise, yeah, I mean the Anki decks are kind of getting big because I'm like doing a lot of them, and now with the 40 reviews per day in the closed deck, it's not as bad. Like last, I think it was last month, I was really grinding that closed deck, and sometimes I had like 3 hour Anki days, which is obviously extremely bad, right? Like you don't ever want to be spending that much time on Anki. You want to be immersing. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to not let that happen again because that's yeah just not optimal. Um, so yeah, I mean now I think I've cut down my Anki to about 45 minutes a day. Yeah, 45 minutes a day. Eventually, when I have more reviews in my closed deck or something, probably will be closer to an hour a day. But an hour a day I think would be my Anki sort of sweet spot. An hour a day of Anki, an hour a day of immersion, if I do have the time. So yeah. Anyway, let's go on to stats. So stats wise, extra 20 hours in Kimchi Reader with extra 140 words mined. I mean, I was hoping for this number to be closer to 300, but with the fact that I took a break and also sentence mining being so hard, 140 is okay to me. So yeah, known and seen, more 60 more known words, 144 more seen words, and just a reminder that like my whenever I mark a word as known, I'm able to use it in conversation. And so, especially recently, I haven't been speaking a lot. I don't really know what words I can use in conversation. So my known counter is growing very slowly. And also, recently, I've been going back and like marking all of the English loan words as seen. Um, so that's why I think my scene count is like slightly inflated. So yeah, Anki hours 29, almost 30. That's pretty. That's a lot of Anki hours. Italki hours like two. I just did like three lessons. So yeah, just not too much on Italki. Maybe like 5 hours on Hello Talk, just like messing around in voice rooms, or, like chatting with people and things like that. So, and then I mean, I spent a lot of time off count, just like watching content, like on my phone or whatever. So I would say like I want to add like at least 10 more hours to this counter. So 56.4 is the lower bound, but I would think it would probably actually be closer to 65 hours this month in terms of immersion. So yeah, honestly, this number I'm happy with. Like I haven't had a lot of time and I've had kind of a rough month. So yeah, I think like being able to keep up this and almost like I definitely with like the content I've been watching, like still over 2 hours a day, even though I spent a lot of time like not engaging with Korean at all. I think that it's been pretty good for me. So yeah, miscellaneous thoughts. Yeah, so this is something I've heard recently, and also something I kind of was just thinking about in general. Excuse me. In general, is just fluency is effectively just topic fluency, because like there's so many things in English that I can't talk about, and obviously I've acquired plenty of topics because I'm a native English speaker. Just by engaging with specific things, I've acquired the vocab for specific topics. But honestly, it's just you just have to go learn. Like if you wanted me to talk about quantum physics, I just like don't have the, or if you wanted me to talk about some crazy like biology concept or something, I just don't have the vocab to adequately describe anything, let alone like I don't even have the vocab to like know what things are. So I think Korean is the same. You know, it's just like if I do want to be able to talk about a topic, I just need to immerse very heavily with it. So I've been thinking a lot about recently, just as I'm kind of transitioning to a solid intermediate Korean learning level, what types of topics do I want to use as stepping stones, I guess, to a more advanced level? So I've just been thinking about like that, and I think for me, a lot of topics that I really enjoy, like I said earlier, are just interesting um, tidbits, right? It could be like related to science, like history or things, or it could just be related to like people talking about life, like life advice, things like that. I'm not really into like peeps. A lot of people, for example, watch like cooking videos and stuff. Like that's not really my thing. A lot of people watch like vlogs or whatever. Like those types of things aren't really my thing. The type of content I consume, as you can see, like I consume TED Talks and stuff. Like it's like that type of content is something I really enjoy. So I want to use that maybe to be kind of a stepping stone. Um, so yeah, that is one thing, and also, I think the next couple of months, I don't remember if I've like mentioned this. I think I probably have on my Korean diaries, but yeah, I mean, I have like a placement test for my university coming up in like early August, and so that's something I'm preparing for. But also like this summer, I anticipate I'll be like pretty busy with work. So hopefully I'll be able to keep up like this pace. If I can honestly like keep up this current Korean learning pace, I would be rather happy, but it's like easier said than done. I'm planning to, just be working a lot in general this summer. So yeah, hopefully I can keep up this pace. And if not, obviously I want to keep up with my Korean. I'm gonna keep doing Anki every day for sure. Like that's something I won't miss. And immersion wise, hopefully just make whatever time I can. And yeah, so a bit of a shorter month. I still think I talked a lot, but yeah. So let's see. Next time it'll be mid June or late June. So yeah, that'll be month like 7.5 maybe. So yeah. Thanks for watching.